Hello everyone, my name is Vladimir and it's time for the issue number 43 of Architecture Weekly newsletter. In the highlights of the week, we're speaking about ScyllaDB and Raft consensus algorithm, the state of the front-end development in 2022, and we envision how the data engineering will change in the upcoming 10 years. Let's go! The first thing I'm talking about is schema changes in the ScyllaDB cluster. So they have a history of never-ending bugs about the data corruption and other issues. And in version number 5, they introduced the Raft algorithm to manage their cluster and finally were able to remove those problems. Because schema changes are hard. When you have concurrent changes to the type of the column, or adding or removing columns, or dealing with failed nodes, etc., etc. In a video by the director of engineering at ScyllaDB at Scylla Summit, you will find out how those problems can be solved with Raft. I learned a lot from that video, for example, that in the consensus algorithm there's such thing as pre-voting in order to ensure that voting for the new leader will succeed. So follow the video for more details. The next one is the future history of data engineering. And this article tells us that actually in the next 10 years we will see a major shift from ETL engineers to data engineers will mostly handle the orchestration, the infrastructure, the tools, etc., etc. And we will see the rise of data analysts that are able to create the business insights from the data. So follow up the article for more insights. There are 6 of them, and they are detailed, explained here. My friends from data engineering field agree with this opinion, so check if you agree as well. And the last one from the weekly highlights is the state of Frontend in 2022 by Gergely Ores. He conducted a survey of almost 4,000 developers in order to understand what's happening in the industry of the front end. And he was able to provide insights such as that TypeScript reached the level of 80% of adoption across the front-end development. However, from the surprising side, only 79% of respondents are using the CI/CD. And I was really surprised because I thought like everybody is doing that, but apparently not. More insights in the article. Let's follow up the weekly highlights with the rest of the articles. First one of them is the aligning organization architecture with strategic domain-driven design. And I really liked how Michael Plod combined the team topology approach with domain-driven design and reminded us that according to the Conway's law, the architecture that you build will resemble the communication structure of your organization. So if you're doing a greenfield project, you really need to think how you structure your teams in order to be able to get a proper architecture. Find the slide deck inside. Next one is accelerating the LinkedIn experience with Azure points of presence. And what point of presence is edge offering. Like there's some node really close to your consumers that will improve the performance of your application or of your website. So how it actually works, so there's a point of presence close to your consumer, and all this heavy lifting of IP and TCP and HTTP is done by this point of presence, which in turn has a long-lived connection to your data service. Thus, you can really speed up the content deployment to your consumers. So take a read on the article by LinkedIn Engineering blog. Next one is a machine learning detection in streaming. So this one is all about the limitations that streaming platforms want to impose on their users because they don't want them to get a content that they haven't purchased, or they want to limit the number of devices that you can access the content from, and so on and so on. And in order to detect the breakage of those rules, they introduce this fraud detection, and they do that with machine learnings, and they try to find the anomalies in the behavior of the users, block if so, and so on and so on. So yeah, Netflix usually has great blogs, great posts on their blog. So yeah, this is not an exception. Next one is scaling customer reviews for peak traffic from Booking.com. Hey Michael, thank you for the feedback for this newsletter. Booking.com, they really want to gather all the customer feedback and not lose any single one. So, but in the peak hours, the load rises exponentially, and they want to be prepared for that. How do they do that? Well, the short answer is a consistent hashing algorithm, but there are much more details in the article, so check it out. Okay, hello from Lyft and their article about recovering from crashes with safe mode. And it's all about, launching new features with feature flags. So what Lyft discovered is that frequently the outages and the problems come up when a new feature is enabled with the appropriate feature flag. And they wanted to safeguard themselves from such crashes, because it's very bad experience when you open up an application and it crashes right away. So they introduced a safe mode, a system that will see if the application is crashing and roll back the feature flags in such cases. So follow the journey of Lyft introducing the safe mode to their mobile application in this article. Okay, next one is a very short note about enterprise architecture, and is it really that? Is this approach to giving big landscape of architecture for the organization, is it really alive? And there are several lessons about that, like please don't build a big picture and expect it to be done or finished, because the business and the landscape changes much faster than you would implement those changes. And this article is a continuation of the slide deck from the previous newsletter issue, and you will find it in the pop-up here. The last one I want to share with you is the video that I did myself about the second chapter of database internals, where the author covers the binary search trees and B trees and finds why B trees are such efficient and why they are used in the databases. So follow the video. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you very much for the attention. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel. You can also subscribe on the blog, and if you really like the content, you can help to run this newsletter at Patreon or Boosty. Thank you very much, and see you next week.